but she won't
Jesus.
acknowledge the turn of the
It took me so long to get
screw
this going.
and look at the other side of this, which is, of course, we
In
have
this
a
weather.
racist history in
Texting
America.
and driving on the
And so
phone
there's
trying
this
to
whole
get it
question
going.
of whether we can just have a basic
Got some more snow here. It's a Friday. It's about 20 degrees out.
The Dred Scott decision.
Snowed about, I don't know, an inch or two. Got everybody cutting through it at about 45, but me and just ramming the left lane doing about 55. You know how we go.
This need to deny it.
That's how we go.
They just can't get in the comfortable zone of talking about America's real past, the idealism of America, and the goals of America. That is something that Tim Scott. I mean, Tim Scott's line, I think is really like, I saw them both early in the campaign on the trail. And I talked to white voters.
Oh, I got a Cadillac behind me, so
it was almost like an absolution, right? I have succeeded. Racism has not stopped me. And it's a very appealing cathartic message, but it's not grappling with the reality of American history.
And yet, Libby, the installation of all of this, you know, America is not a racist country or personal experience, is kind of left to the side when you're asked what was the cause of the Civil War. I mean, we have to get back to that. This was a question that Nikki Haley was unwilling, I don't think she's unable, unwilling to answer accurately.
yeah, it's getting dicey. Let's see how these semis handle this turn.
The big part of the reason there is that
all right, they're staying steady.
reaction she would get from the Republican base, especially in Iowa.
All right, it's no big deal for them.
Iowa, I don't know that the answer would necessarily be different in New Hampshire. Maybe we'll
But
find
yeah, I
out.
mean, it's a little slippery.
More to come from Libby Casey, senior news anchor covering politics and breaking news at the Washington Post. Anita Kumar is here, senior managing editor at Politico, and Wendy Benjaminson, Washington senior editor for Bloomberg News. Much more with our guests right after a break. What questions do you have about?
Yeah, got by the semis. Perfect. And I knew the sludge in the middle would kind of lighten up a little bit out here. I don't know why. People go faster. It takes it away.
Good morning.
But I'm going to get over after this white car because I know this Escalade behind me wants to be ridiculous and go faster than 55 on this shit.
Michigan Public is 91.7 in Ann Arbor and Detroit, 91.1 in Flint,
52 miles an hour. I just gassed it down a little bit, but I'm not going to cut through the sludge on the turn. I'm going to wait until the straight, and then I'm going to hammer through it right here. Wham! Got through it, no problem. Gassing it up a little bit. You know, you got to put the throttle down a little more for the RPMs to get through that sludge.
Values our curiosity. We have a new name.
Driving 101. Got my credentials.
Michigan Public, for curious minds.
Trying to get there.
Support for Michigan Public comes from the Holland area visitors.
Alright, here comes the Escalade. He's going to pass it on by. He's probably going to knock it up to the 70 like the speed limit suggests.
4,000 acres of parks and trails for hiking and biking. More at Holland. Coming up later today on Stateside, old malls never die.
Hood
They just
Escalade.
sit there.
A couple different color body panels and a different color back.
Students about creative reuse. Part of that conversation next time on Stateside. That's this afternoon at 3. In the Michigan Public Weather Forecast, cloudy today with areas of snow. A winter weather advisory is in effect until 1 p.m. in lower parts of southern Michigan, including Holland, Kalamazoo, Jackson, Ann Arbor, and Detroit. Highs from the mid-teens to lower 20s. Tonight, partly cloudy, scattered snow showers in parts of West Michigan. Lows from 0 to 10 above, colder than that in Grand Rapids. It's 10:20.
Support for NPR comes from the station and from ECMC Foundation, working to improve higher education for career success among underserved populations through evidence-based innovation. Learn more at ecmcfoundation.org. And Better Health, committed to supporting mental health through therapy. Clients are matched with over 25,000 therapists and can communicate via video, chat, or phone at betterhealth.com/public. And from listeners like you who donate to this NPR
Oh, we're down to
station.
45 now. I don't know why.
Welcome back. I'm Thomas Willick. It's 1A. Back to our roundup in a second. But first, a word about our Friday news
Traffic's
quiz
just that heavy.
and your big chance to pick up some exclusive, and I mean exclusive, 1A swag. Last week, we wanted to know what was behind the plan to turn Broadway purple. And congrats to Anna Marie in Hudson, Wisconsin, because Anna Marie
musical. This week's quiz question might be a little too easy for fans of professional ice hockey. By the way, huge congratulations to Anna-Free. That was a big answer. I'm impressed. All right, this week's quiz question. If you're a fan of professional ice hockey, you might be out, but here it is. What business is on track to make $750 million this year? Give us your answer using the 1A Vox Pop app or visit today's show on the 1A.org. What business is on track to make $750 million this year? We're accepting entries on Sunday, so good luck to you. All right, back to the roundup. We're with Mia Kumar, Senior Managing Editor of Politico, Wendy Benjaminson is Washington Senior Editor for Bloomberg News, and Libby Casey, Senior News Anchor covering politics and breaking news at the Washington Post. Anita, we were talking before the break about Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis and the difficulty in the Republican primary or unwillingness to address questions of race, or at least address them in a realistic way in many cases. Donald Trump has chosen, again, he's done this before, to start using Nikki Haley's given first name, Imarato, as part of his attacks against her, and just this morning, today, using intentional misspellings of that name to go after her. And I'm interested in what you think about that, Ted.
You're right. We've seen this before. I mean, this is really reminiscent of how Donald Trump treated Barack Obama, right? He was promoting the lie that Barack Obama was not born in the United States and therefore ineligible to run for president. And he also used to emphasize Obama's middle name, Hussein, at campaign rallies. So this is very similar to that. He has, as you mentioned, used her first name. She has always gone by her middle name, which is Nikki, and has changed her last name, as many women did, probably still do, and did at the time when she got married to her husband's
All right, we'll pause these lights, right?
Trump gang for a moment, but we have to get away from the campaign trail and into the courtroom. Or do we? Because increasingly, I guess, they're pretty much the same thing. Donald Trump went directly from Iowa to New York, where he was back in federal court on Tuesday on another defamation claim brought by writer E. Jean Carroll. So last year, a jury found Trump liable for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll in 1996 and then defaming her afterward. He was ordered to pay $5 million in that case. As he was leaving the courtroom this week, Trump, as he very often does, attacked the judge. In this case, U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan.
That's a nasty man. He's a nasty judge. He's a Trump-hating guy, and it's obvious to everybody in the court.
Trump speaking to reporters outside of the courtroom in New York on Tuesday. Wednesday, Wendy, Donald Trump was already found liable for defaming Jean Carroll in one trial, as I mentioned. Why is he back in court for a second go?
Gotta take that lane.
The short answer is because Donald Trump doesn't know when to stop talking. He was the judge in that case ruled that the defamation finding from the first trial carried over. And so what this trial is about is how much Donald Trump has to pay for defaming E. Jean Carroll. And he is, he's very upset about being on trial again, and so he got into it with the judge when he kept mugging for the jury, making faces, rolling his eyes, muttering loud enough in a stage whisper that this was a con job and that the judge was out to get him. And finally the judge, had enough and threatened to expel him from the trial. And Trump mouthed off to the judge and said, yeah, you'd love to throw me out, or words to that effect. And the judge came right up to actually throwing him out.
Well, let's talk more about that. I should, just to put a finer point on it, I should say, $5 million Trump was ordered for defaming E. Jean Carroll and for sexually assaulting her. This second case is also because a second part of Trump's defamation is while he was president of the United States. That's why this is in federal court. Trump tried to get this kicked out of federal court. I can't be held responsible for things I do as president. Courts many, many months ago said, no, you have to pay some music. And so the reason this is in front of a federal judge is because Trump defamed E. Jean Carroll, allegedly, from the White House. Literally, that's what this case is about. This is not a question of whether he defamed, it's a question of how much more does a jury want Donald Trump to pay to get him to stop. That's what E. Jean Carroll's lawyers were arguing in front of the judge. Make him stop. Make it worth his while to stuff. But Anita, Wendy mentioned that Judge Kaplan threatened to kick Donald Trump out of court. Donald Trump actually said, I would love it if you did that. And I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to this before, Todd, but what we're seeing here is very unusual. We're seeing a presidential candidate go from around